Hey everyone, so as you can tell from the video title, this is going to be a very light-hearted topic that I'll be discussing today. And do excuse the setup and the shoddy lighting. I've literally just gotten back from the supermarket and just felt the need to record this and put this up online as soon as possible. But to put a long story short, I'm going to talk about a situation that we've just been in as a reason for this video. But do excuse if I kind of ramble on or repeat things a few times. It's because I'm still feeling quite angry about stuff. So yeah, sometimes I might not be as eloquent as I would like to be, especially given the topic that I'll be talking about. I don't want to do a disservice and I just want it to be discussed as fairly as possible from both sides of things. But to put a long story short, my sister and I just came back from food shopping and a man just decided to approach us and start making comments such as ni hao, la la, which is things that we've kind of grown up hearing sometimes by people who pass by and things, and normally it shouldn't be, but we just kind of brush it off and just think, oh, he's an idiot, and just kind of carry on our day-to-day business. But today he decided to overstep that line even further and actually turned to my sister, and I'm going to use my phone to demonstrate, and started pretending to take a picture and pushing a phone towards her face and just kept making remarks like, oh, you want to take a picture, you want to take a picture, and basically invaded her personal space and made her and myself feel very, very uncomfortable. And I don't think he expected us to react, to be honest. I think most people who do those kind of things normally do expect people to kind of put their head down and walk away and kind of not talk about it. So I think the last thing he did expect was both of us to suddenly get very, very riled up. For a split second we were very shocked because we didn't expect him to actually come up towards us and start doing those movements and things. But we proceeded to turn around and just kind of think, excuse me, what did you think you were just doing just then? And I think he was so shocked that he just completely put his hands up and was like, oh, it's a joke, it's meant to be funny. And we were like, who's laughing? Because we're not laughing, I don't think it's funny. And he stopped being like, oh yeah, it's a joke, and tried to walk away. And I think other people were starting to get involved and being like, oh, what's going on? I was just in complete disbelief that somebody thought it was in the right mind to approach somebody that was from a different culture and to just kind of make them feel uncomfortable and make them feel unsafe in their environment. And it kind of made me think, how many times has he as an individual or people similar to him would have done the same thing to other people, and had they responded or had they made him feel like that's a perfectly okay thing to do somebody. And the complete irony of it was that he was actually an immigrant himself, which I thought he would have empathised with the situation a bit more, considering what's been going on in media recently with Brixton and everything. We're in London, we're in a city that celebrates diversity and celebrates having a multicultural society, and to think somebody could just come up to a supermarket and approach two young girls and just make those kind of comments is just completely disgusting, I think. And it's just and it's just made me really, really riled up. And I'm quite hot-headed at the best of times, and I do need to work on my temper, but that's another story for another day. But I just couldn't hold back, and I just kind of wanted to just not grab this guy, that's a bit forward, but I wanted to approach this guy and ask him, what made you think for that second that it was okay to speak to somebody like that? And I wanted to ask him, how would you have felt if you had a daughter or you had a sister or your mother to be approached by a man at a supermarket and was said things about your culture? And at the time, one of the guys who were working there turned around and asked my sister and I, is everything okay? What's going on? I know that guy, he causes trouble here quite often, but what's happening? Is there anything I can help with? And for that split second, I actually felt ashamed and embarrassed to tell you that man was being racist. And I don't know why, because I hadn't done anything wrong, we hadn't done anything to have provoked him to do that, but for that split second I just didn't want to tell him what really happened. And I think that's precisely the reason why I wanted to film this video, because it's nothing to be ashamed about. Coming from a different ethnic background isn't something that anybody should feel embarrassed about. I feel very, very proud of my heritage, and I also loved it that I was given the opportunity to be born and raised in London, but that moment I just didn't know why. I was left speechless. Coming from an Asian background, my parents have always taught my sister and I that if we were in that situation, to not address it, to not get involved, and just kind of brush it off and walk away. And because Asians, I don't know for other Asian families, I can't speak for everyone, but for my family, my parents don't like to put themselves in situations, and if things like that happen, they just rather not get involved because they're scared of what they might do to them, even though they weren't in the wrong in the first place, and they normally shy away from kind of addressing things or confronting that person. me being me, like I said, I'm very, very hot-headed, so I find it very hard to back down with things like that because I just want to ask that person what they're thinking, which is what I did, but not as eloquently as I'm trying to put towards this video. It shouldn't be something that you just brush off and think, oh, it's just one of those things, it's because I'm Asian, so of course people are going to make racially inappropriate comments. Nope, doesn't change where you are, I don't care what you look like, I don't care what your background is, doesn't make it okay to talk to other people like that, especially in public. Actually, even in private, it's not okay to talk about other people like that. But I just wanted to ask other people, have you been through a situation? If you're Asian, have you been through a situation? You don't actually hear a lot about Asians experiencing the same kind of treatment. And I think it is because of our backgrounds that our parents or other generations, older generations, usually discourage us from speaking up about it and to kind of just concentrate on other things. But I just really want this channel to be somewhere that not only can spread positivity, but to also inspire and to start conversation about things that aren't typically spoken about as much as they should. What do you think that we can do as a society and as a collective that we can kind of raise more awareness about it and to actually spark up a conversation? This is a subject that I've actually wanted to film a video about for a very, very long time, especially with everything that's been going on recently, but I just kind of go into a bit of a ramble like I am now, but today I just kind of sparked that, no, I need to do it right now, today, and put it up straight away. It'd be great to hear your stories and also your ideas on what we can do as a group to kind of change this a little bit, even if it's something, excuse me, completely small, but something small in a small community is better than nothing. So yeah, sorry, just need to calm down and take a few deep breaths. And I never ever usually ask people to share videos unless it's really, really important to me. But if we could share this video or just kind of share your thoughts or share your comments on the personal status or something about this, then I would super appreciate it, because it's just a topic that I feel people shy away from sometimes and they don't want to involve themselves in. But that's also the fact that it's not being spoken up as much as it should be makes these people and these bullies think it's completely okay to talk to people like that, thinking they'll get away with it. And actually, no, you're not going to get away with it, because you will be called out and you will be made to realise what you've done. Because I want to put like a somewhat fair argument and talk about it from both sides. From his side, I truly don't think he meant harm or actually wanted that situation to happen. I truly think he thought that was a joke and to pat himself on the back because it was really funny, because look, they're Asian, so therefore I'm going to use the two Asian things, and started putting a camera in the face because that's stereotypically what they do, so that makes it okay. But no, it's not a joke and it's not funny, and you probably think you're hilarious, but you also probably need to go to comedy school and brush up on your skills, because that wasn't funny. And to the people who are going through it, nuh-uh. But I understand somewhat that they might think it's something that's completely harmless and we completely overreacted to that situation. But coming from people who have kind of had to grow up with that quite a lot of times and have those comments back and forth, at least pronounce it, you know, ni hao, right, you know, or at least think of other words. If you can speak to me in a full sentence, then I'd be actually more impressed than if you just did it in a sing-song mocking way. I wish I could sit down and write a proper letter and read it out and be all like elegant and all that kind of jazz, but no, everything is just all boiling up here and I just need to spew it all out. I really do appreciate you watching this video, and hopefully this has ended a bit more positively, and we can think of ideas of how we can spark up as much conversation as we can and to get the ball rolling and make these people realise that it's not okay to talk to people like that. But yeah, I would appreciate all of your thoughts and comments, and normal video scheduling will be up tomorrow. I've actually got a really, really cool video that I'm uploading tomorrow, and it's all 90s style and stuff. But yeah, more on that tomorrow. And in the meantime, thank you for taking the time out to watch this. Thank you in advance for any of your comments or feedback, and it'd be great to know your thoughts. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely evening after this. But yeah, love to you all, and I shall see you very, very soon. Bye. Oh, and PS, hopefully you won't see me like this, so overworked in future videos, and hopefully nothing sparks off this, because when I get angry it's not pretty. I actually call myself the Incredible Shulk, but that works better in written form. But yeah, hopefully you won't see that again for a very, very long time. But yeah, if anything, I'll speak to you in a little bit. Bye.